Hi,
back.
everyone.
We are here with Julie Brice. If you'd like to introduce yourself, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie. I run Townsville Scrabble Club here in sunny North Queensland. This is the first time I've been a commentator and really looking forward to it. Been great to watch all the action that's been happening so far. We next year have the Australian Women's Championships and the Queensland Championships here in Townsville, and anyone that wants to pop over from anywhere. The weather should be a lovely, balmy 26 degrees in August.
Sounds good.
Um,
Anybody who's in the area, go check out the Queensland Scrabble Club.
Townsville Scrabble Club, we have wine and we have cake and we have a great time. But yeah, it's a beautiful area of the world, as is Auckland. Though I've not been there for many years. So yeah, it's
Yeah, I
great to
was.
be here. And
I'm in
it's
the
been,
States,
been
but yeah.
been lovely uh, to be introduced to you, Kenji, and to have had a look at your webpage and some of the amazing stuff that's on there in the last couple of days.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, if anybody wants to check out my webpage, it is breakingthegame.net. And there's lots of information of Scrabble, both for people in the United States as well as worldwide. I also have a
Yeah,
book by the same title if anybody wants to check it out. It is on
yes, I,
Amazon, so check it out. Free
I'm,
self-picking.
I'm, I'm hoping you have an electronic version for me because as a quadriplegic, I can't turn the pages, so I only
Oh,
read online.
okay, cool. Yeah,
So
well, things are in the works. We'll see what happens shortly.
awesome, that's great.
Anyway, I think we're about to get started pretty soon. Hopefully.
That's great.
Um,
So I think we've got Ryan Sutton and Patrick Carter. Is that right?
yes. I
Yeah.
don't know too much about Ryan. Do you know Ryan or
So I've played Ryan. I had a look, and I think I've played Ryan twice,
okay.
and unsurprisingly, he's rated a couple of hundred points higher than I am. He's beaten me twice, but I think the last time was 2023 in Melbourne,
Okay.
and I recall that he was a real gentleman, and he was very kind to the support worker who was acting as my Scrabble hands at the
Nice.
time and picking out the tiles and placing them on the board for me. So, really genuinely lovely guy,
Yeah.
um, who has not had the best of pickups for a start.
Yeah. There are a lot of bouncy kind of plays. There's
Yeah,
Lunt, there's Toll, there's Netlet, there's
Nutlet I didn't know, but yeah, that sounds great.
but yeah, nothing too. This is kind of like a what type of tiles do you want to keep, or how long do you want to play? Everything is kind of the same, give or take. Nothing really stands out, but you can play 4 tiles, you can play 6 tiles, you can play 5 tiles.
Yeah,
Still basically
I
the
think
same.
Lunt with the U on the star looks good to me, and I think that's what he's placing. But
He's
no,
playing null. Interesting.
well, I kind of have a thing that I don't like L's as well.
Okay.
Um, it's one of those things, and it seems to be something very specific to Townsville as well. I think most
Interesting.
of our players up here say we don't like L's. We don't
Okay.
like V's and we don't like L's.
L's are good for some things and not for others. They're not very
Yeah,
good for scoring per se. They're decent for bingoing and they're decent for getting rid of vowels, but they're not good for you don't have a lot of good like scoring options with them, I think.
no.
Patrick playing
Um,
jawing
Joring, ah,
makes a lot of
lovely. That's
sense.
nice. Yeah,
Gets rid of most of his clunk.
yeah. Well, I guess the other letter I'm a bit prejudiced against is W's. Always prefer a V over a W. And yeah, that is lovely. Hopefully, you'll pick up something that goes well with the A and the V.
Yeah,
And
W
we've got
is one of
the
those tiles that either it parallels or it does nothing. There's not
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
long words with W's. Um,
yeah, exactly. Um, and the
yeah,
triple
Ryan.
T is a little
Yeah, You can play like
Tinted,
Vita, but that's gonna open the triple. There's not a lot of great things. He plays Witted,
witted.
which keeps TV. Both players kind of played by the V here a little bit.
Yeah, and at least it gives a decent tile turnover as well. So,
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of tile turnover. I think it's a little bit
bit overrated.
overstated. Yeah, I mean, it, generally you're gonna want to do things that draw bingos a little bit more often. But that being said, you know, sometimes you can draw the S's and the blanks, and sometimes you can draw the V's and U's and G's and other clunk. So
It's
it's
all
kind
a
of a
bit
trade-off.
it's all a bit random. Every time I have a new support worker who access my hands, they always express guilt if they draw me something that looks terrible. I'm like, it's random. Don't worry about it. Besides,
Yeah,
there might be something really weird in that rack of five vowels and two consonants that
yeah,
I might actually know.
yeah. You
So
never know. It's always the opportunity for something halfway
you
decent.
do. There's so many amazing words.
Yeah.
So I wonder what Patrick's looking at here.
Uh,
It's
it's not great. There's a few decentish options. There's like Koji, for example. There's Kiva.
yeah,
You can also
Koji
go to the
Kiva,
K and the V, or at least one of the two, if not both.
or
Um,
perhaps even Taiko.
Taiko.
Uh,
Um,
Taiko. Sorry,
yeah,
my pronunciation might be wrong.
I mean, I'm Japanese, so I'm a little bit more likely to notice Taiko, but
Please feel free to correct my pronunciation at any point. Um,
yeah, I always like keeping the T here if I can, just because I think it's good for bingoing, and I like
well, yeah, particularly in combination with the S as well.
yeah.
Um,
I
so
think
ideally, you'd like a D for some vodka, wouldn't you?
yes, you definitely would. Um,
Or maybe that's just me.
no, I think everybody on stream could always use a little bit of vodka. Uh,
Yeah,
going with Via here, getting rid of the V. The V is,
the
far
V is
worse. Yeah,
clunky.
he is bad. So I can't
Yeah.
blame him for getting rid of the V. It makes a lot of
Oh,
sense. Does most of the things that we're talking about. Keeping the K. K is an okay tile. It's not the best. It's not the worst.
I
Um,
would. I'm one of those people that would prefer an extra K in the bag and one less I.
yeah, that could be kind of interesting. There's a lot of tiles you could add to the bag that would be okay. Get some double
Yeah.
K action, double Z action or something.
Hive
Um,
getting rid of the other V and the extra I. Very seems very sensible to me.
yeah. We see Ryan play
So
Hive almost immediately, getting rid of two of his heavy tiles. Makes a lot of sense. And that is a draw for Patrick. QXU as his
oh
draw.
yes.
Um, does have a pretty natural play of quote if he wants it, but doesn't
Yeah,
have to play it.
I think I would definitely be looking at that, and I think that's what he's
Yeah,
getting to as well. For
doesn't
sure,
too
for
much time.
48, that's pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah, especially with the Q. Even QU is not that great. So whenever you can score
No,
50 with the Q, you generally are pretty happy.
absolutely. Well, a
Uh,
very even game so far. So, I
yep.
guess they are. I did have a quick look at their Wesper ratings, and they're very close in ranking as well as Australian ratings. I couldn't find a New Zealand rating for Ryan, but given the change in the draw, it took a while looking some things up. So,
Yeah, they're both.
yeah.
Everybody at this tournament has skill.
Oh,
So
absolutely, and certainly a
mm,
lot more than me. It's
you may not be giving yourself enough credit, but
I I'm sometimes a little bit of a weird player. I really like things in alphabetical order, and obviously I can't use my hands to rearrange the tiles, so it's a very different way to play. I know there's a few others that leave tiles on their rack sideways and upside down as well, but yeah, so well, there's a few interesting options here, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and looks like we have something already.
Plays pi. I'm getting rid of the p and the y. Again, you always do want to get rid
Yeah,
of the higher point tiles. Makes it that much faster for you to bingo.
and it does make it a nice block for that triple as well, apart from Trank, obviously, and
Mm-hmm.
Talak and things like that.
Patrick wasting no time in playing racks almost immediately. Wants to
No,
get rid of his X. Makes a lot of sense there as well.
yeah,
I do think the clocks are not working, but both players are playing very fast. I don't think we're going to have any serious time trouble in
no,
reality. But I don't think they've played three. They haven't played the whole game in 3 seconds either. So
no,
worth noting.
no,
Uh, Ryan with not the greatest draw.
no.
Board's
The
not great either. Probably going to be playing along the bottom of racks, I'm guessing. As we see, also not the greatest draw for Patrick either. Uh,
No, I think I'd prefer Ryan's to Patrick's, to be honest.
yeah,
Um,
um, they both they're both struggling a little bit. Patrick needs one of the T's that Ryan has to be floated into space, but that's probably not going to happen.
if they could do a T trade and a no trade, maybe things would be better.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
Patrick would even be willing to trade the S for the T here,
mm.
um, which, yeah, not every day you get to see that, but
So have we got anything that would hook in front of the JA, I wonder? Um,
not in Ryan's
needs
rack.
the no need it would need a U for Ouija
Yeah.
or Ouija or
There are some things for sure that he's not that far from, let's say, Trojan, for example, or
yeah
Hijab, or some other plays like that. But I think he's going to be playing under racks
under
and
racks. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
a
that
natural fit.
yeah,
Yeah, I was wondering if he was going to go for the G or the T there.
yeah.
Uh,
He seems to be willing to keep two T's because on his opening play he also kept two T's with null. So it does seem to be something that he's okay doing. T's are good for two T's are okay for bingos. It's
two,
just really inhibiting for scoring.
yeah,
Another very interesting draw by Ryan
and
ZHZ.
yeah, and very vowel deficient. So
Yeah,
what are we
we see
looking at?
Cook coming
And
down.
oh, that's right, because we're in CSW 19. So
Yeah, so that's still a valid, um,
uh,
still a valid
so
slur. Or I also think Gook can sometimes mean like just like
gunk.
gunk. Yeah,
Yeah, well that's how I've always used it. So
yeah.
um, we're looking at
CHZ.
this.
So not too far from like Kotiha, for example, or something like that. That JA does have some. It's always worth looking at. Um,
Fuchsia, but no
yeah,
U for that.
um, yeah, but there's not a lot of good openings here.
No, it's tricky.
Yeah, there's I guess Upo, like the UP spot is open. There's a lot of like things that are really specific. He could play, I guess, Ches or
It's
the HE and Hive as an option. Um,
yeah, that actually I think that works. That's lovely. Um,
he could play Torch alongside Gook. Nothing great. Yeah, uh,
I think I think Ches is probably the best move here. I don't have Quackle open, so I can't look
yeah.
at anything on that.
It's.
But
I try
yeah,
not to use
Ches.
Quackle too much when I'm commentating because I find it not realistic to like. I feel like I'm thinking of the game differently when I'm using Quackle, whereas where if I'm
Yeah,
just thinking about the plays, I feel like I'm much more um, into the game, even if it's a different. Even if I'm missing stuff, I think it's more okay. I think chat understands that sometimes the commentators are gonna miss things, just like they would miss things. Um,
yeah. Well, playing in real life.
yeah. Um,
Oh, it looks like the clocks are back, so
okay. Oh yeah, that seems accurate. There are some setup options he has too that are at least okay. Like you could play like there's almost a bunch of things they could play like TAT setting up the H or TC setting up the H. So if you had something like Coxib or Toxin or something like that setting up the H, that's just something to keep an eye out for on like future turns as a possibility. Um, Not quite anything there yet, but definitely potential,
no.
I think. He does
What's
have HZ in his.
Yeah, I'm wondering what he's thinking with these two.
I don't know
It's
where ZH plays.
no,
Oh,
I can't.
ZHO.
Oh,
ZHO and
ZHO, yeah.
yeah, ZHO.
And I guess then he's got the extra O and keeping their soul vowel, which is good,
Yeah. And keeping, a rack that has some decent hope for
decent,
bingoing if he draws
yeah,
well.
tractor.
hmm So Patrick definitely looking to play through that O. Um, he actually has Zufo low,
Zufalo.
which he almost has lined up. So I think there's a decent chance he finds that. Not a very common word. It's some Italian thing, but um,
I
doesn't
wonder
seem.
if we, I'll see if I can find a definition on Zufalo.
I can
Um,
look up what the definition is. Let's see. Zufolo. It is a. It is an Italian flute to train songbirds.
okay, well that is very cool.
Um. Anyway,
I wouldn't have ever thought that songbirds particularly needed training, but
I
there
don't
we
know.
go.
I'm
Uh,
not gonna, there's a lot of Scrabble words that I'm not exactly
but
thinking as
I've
being
gotten
realistic words.
in trouble with the public before if they ask me what a word is, and I must admit that I have sometimes made up definitions and
Oh yes, I have as well. I will not claim that all the words in the Scrabble dictionary are real, like quote real words. Um,
rational words.
yeah, some of these have like I'm working on a project called the Common English Lexicon, which is tries to narrow down the Scrabble dictionary a little bit into um, words that are a little more common. But Zufolo would not be on that list.
Zufalo would not be on the list.
No. Anyway, Ryan playing uh, Trow, and almost immediately Patrick is going to play Loud
Yeah,
Guys, I think.
elogious,
Oh, Logania.
loud,
Okay, that makes sense as well.
Lagania. Okay, nice.
And is now very firmly in control. Um, that's going to put him up by over 100. And
And Ryan's still struggling for vowels.
yeah, he needs an eye for centrism.
Yep.
And the board is not good for Ryan at all.
No, the board is difficult.
I think that Patrick is going to get 5 here.
Yeah, I would be saying so. So
Um, but yeah, he had, there were a few bingos that played there. Otalgia also would have fit there.
yeah,
But yeah, things are looking already a little bit hard. Ryan's going to have to create some lines that
definitely
are
going
not,
to open the board up a bit here.
yeah, something like Worm maybe, setting up like a decent S hook. Um, not not just because it sets up a hook, but it's a hook that Patrick's gonna have a hard time blocking. Whereas something like Calm, for
Um,
example, is gonna be like if he's gonna open up play CM off, he should be playing Mock rather than Calm because even though Calm has more hooks, those hooks allow Patrick to block, whereas Mock only
yes.
takes the S. So it's actually harder for Ryan for it to be blocked, even though it's also a less useful lane. So that's worth thinking about in terms of you don't want to just create something that has lots of hooks. You want to create something that's difficult to block.
Well, hopefully he doesn't put the N out in a spot where Patrick can play peonies. Um,
Yeah.
Sorry, speaking from an Australian point of view here, I know we're a little behind in the rankings at the moment. So, but
No,
it
I
does look
think we
like
all want
there's
Australia to catch up a little bit here.
we all like a
Um,
close game.
yeah, we want a close series.
We want something that's nice and exciting.
Yep. Um, so Ryan has Mets lined up. Um, like the
That's going for score to
okay,
catch
it
up a
does
little
score
bit. I
pretty
guess
well.
there's the
Yeah,
it does open up the
the
quite a
Tam.
few hooks, but as you said, that's going to be easy to block along the bottom there.
Yeah,
I
I'm not.
think.
I think there's a misconception that a lot of people have that when they're behind that they need to score points and that they should air towards points rather than leave. Generally, actually, when you're behind, you want to be airing towards leave
Leave.
over points. Um, it does seem like, well, you need to get lucky, so I need to score and bingo, but you're better off like adding volatility to the game, and points is certainty, and leave is uncertainty. And when you need, when you're ahead, you generally want to be airing towards points. When you're behind, you generally want to be leaning towards leave, all things considered. Obviously, there's a bunch of different factors that go into this, and it's not as, it's not just as simple as, well, always grab the leave. You do want to try to like compare the two, but I do think that that's something that a lot of people could do a lot more often is generally air towards when you're behind leaves rather than points. And
Yeah.
Patrick should be doing the opposite. Um, anyway, Patrick, Val heavy. Um, Definitely gonna be looking to get rid of some of those vowels, probably with something like paleo or um, maybe even just OE in the top right. Um, it has different options that you can go with, even like well, whole or
I
something
like
like
it.
that.
Yeah, I like OE in
Poi.
the top right. I think that's
Yeah, Poi, if he
um,
wants to block, he can play POI, hooking, making OP, GO, and AI also an
AI.
option.
Yeah.
That's a more defensive play, which may be warranted here because there's not very many good lines on this board. And you don't want to make it easy. You don't want to leave the TAM open too often. But he does elect to go with OE. And if Patrick does bingo, this game will just be over and immediately. Ryan's
Yes.
not going to be blocking because he needs the
Not
board to be open too.
not from over 100 or close to 100 points behind.
Yeah. Um, Ryan looking to get rid of his Y,
And
looking
Patrick
to open the board.
drawing another two vowels as well.
Okay, that's good
Um,
for creating an interesting game.
it's good for creating an interesting game. It's not so good for Patrick.
Nope.
Um, okay, so yeah, the Y.
He could play if he wants to open the board actually and score some points. He can play DJ through the JA, that spot that we've been talking about the whole game.
Yeah,
Oh,
DJ would be lovely.
is an option. Um,
I've got my friend here. We're both just nodding, and yep, DJ. DJ's my favorite.
he could also play if you want a parallel play. He
Or
could play EYED through in the middle of the board over
in the
null,
middle of
making
Witted and Null.
yeah, and
Yeah,
create
so H-E-Y.
yeah. Um,
Or even just the YE there, keeping
yeah.
keeping at least one of the E's. Although
The,
there are still quite a few left in the bag, or unseen, I should say.
yeah, it scores roughly the same as DJ, but it doesn't open things up. The problem with DJ is that it creates an S hook, which is actually bad for you when you're losing because your opponent can then just play the S, and you're not going to be so happy to play the S, but your opponent will be thrilled to take the 40.
This is
40
true.
points is not a good thing when you're behind. It's a great thing when you're ahead. So you don't want to create 40-point spots like that because you're not
No,
going to catch up by 100-point deficits 40 points at a time. You need to score 70 or 80 at a time. So, um, but
gone for
yeah,
yen.
he's gone for yen, keeping C, the one of the E's. Makes a lot of
Patrick
sense.
Patrick playing upside down. We have one guy at our club who refuses to rotate the board. I find it very odd, but it can throw you off. And certainly with this, I'm not getting head spins.
Yeah, one of the reasons to actually turn the board isn't to make your own plays better, it's to obstruct your opponent from seeing the board, which may not be like the most. It may be a little bit of gamesmanship, but it also does make a little bit of sense in that you don't really want to have your opponent seeing the board super well for
All the
10 or 15
time.
minutes at a time. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is not a good draw
But
from
when you're
Ryan.
playing, no, that is awful. Cred is really cred or search, but
Like, Cred does take an A hook that's a little bit sneaky. So there is that, but he doesn't have an A.
no, he doesn't have an A.
But
Three unseen A's. But
yeah, he's got to go with it
definitely
though.
needs to open it up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be the play, and just maybe hope Ryan does or Patrick doesn't see it. But if he does, it's you don't want to create a spot like that generally, especially when you don't have it. But luckily for Ryan, Patrick doesn't really have anything good there.
Not
Um,
that I can see.
like he has
Once
plays
again
there or
on the
something.
there's there's definitely plays, but it's
Yeah.
once again I'm kind of anti doubles, but I would be trying to close that down. But closing it down, you open it up as well in some
Well, yeah.
instances.
I think in Patrick's shoes, I would actually just be killing the spot with something like Sane or
Yeah,
just something not to score, just to kill it and just to create. The E is not a very good lane. You don't want to
sane
create.
or no,
Yeah.
yeah, or nice.
If you cared about spread more, if you were behind, you might play like E and S and leave that open. But you're ahead. Just take the certain thing. Make sure that nothing silly happens.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, the board
right.
is not great.
No, and a bingo to make up. How's the clocks going? Oh, so he's got plenty of time to think about this.
Yeah.
Um,
It is tempting to just play ENS and just say, I have a better leave than you.
yeah,
You just didn't.
which is what he's doing.
Um,
Just
and
increase the margin.
yeah. And we have the JA open again, and now we have a different word over there, Trojan, which we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, Trojan.
Unduplicates the R, gets rid of some consonants. So that's at least worth considering. Uh,
But
Ryan
no,
going with a different line of torque.
torque.
I don't think that Los takes an
Does
S
was
though.
take it? I don't think was
I don't think
takes.
it does. Yeah, it doesn't. Um,
No.
so only
So
still the one line. Patrick
and
drawing another
Patrick's
A.
got another A. So Bane is good.
Yeah. If
Bane
Patrick
is looking
doesn't play
good
the
now
A here, I'm going
for
to be a little
Acrid.
bit concerned about him not knowing it or seeing Acred. Because it's not automatic that he's going to see Acred.
Yeah.
And Ryan does draw an A himself.
It is a sneaky front hook. Ryan's finally starting to get a better rack.
Yeah. If
Is it in time though?
Well, if Patrick plays off, what I would be interested in is Patrick plays off, like, let's say Cab, for example. If I were Ryan, I would be leaving the Acred hook open. Not because I think it's a good idea, but because I think that my best shot at winning this game is just hoping that Patrick just never sees Acred.
Hasn't seen it, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's probably what you would assume if he does play off Cab. So
Yeah.
checking the bag,
'Cause,
there's
yeah, I don't like
15.
his odds of winning legitimately here. It's gonna
No,
be,
no, it definitely needs a bit of luck
yeah,
at this stage. Tile fairies, please be good. That would be my prayer at this point.
yeah. And I don't think he sees it because I think if Patrick saw Bane and
He,
Acred, I think he would have played it by now.
Bane would have gone down by now, I'm
Yeah,
sure. Um,
I agree. Because yeah, there's not really any good alternatives. There's, I guess, Bejan, which isn't terrible. No, there's Cab.
there's Cab, yeah, he hasn't seen it. So I
So
would be definitely preserving
yeah,
that lane and preserving my A.
yeah,
It's still dicey, but I mean, there's no bingo there that's playable that I can see.
no. You're not going to win
Um,
this game any other way. You need to play like
no,
End or something like that, and just hope that you get there.
or
Um,
pray for something through the V, the
yeah,
fire up the top.
yeah, but I think your major way of winning this game is that just hoping that Patrick
This
never sees
is
Acred.
this is really interesting though because every now and then I go on these weird bents where I decide to learn a set of words that's extremely small. Things like all of the 8 letter words ending in V. And
Hmm.
this is kind of making me tempted to add 8 letter words ending in B for Bravo to that list. I wonder
There's a lot
how
of
many
them.
of them there are.
There aren't a lot of them.
Uh, Underweb, no, I don't know. Interweb, interweb, I think
Yeah.
is the only one that I know off the top of my head.
Oh, there's more than that, but like,
Oh,
backstab or
yeah,
Kekatum. Like, I'm sure there's
yes,
probably like 100 of them or something like that. I could check, but they're
I know, but
probably
a hundred is a nice lot to add to card box. Whereas if
okay.
you if you're looking at if you're looking at 200 or 300,
There's,
I generally add by probability. But it is nice to know the weird stuff sometimes.
there's
Oh
38.
no! Oh no! He's played the A.
Ooh, that's not good.
He
He needed that.
I thought he was keeping the A for Aked.
I was hoping so, but
Oh no,
maybe he's hoping to
Ryan.
draw another one, but there isn't another one to draw now.
There's none. Well, no, Patrick's got it, but I don't think Patrick's seen it either.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be tough now. That's
really,
a really big
that's
swing.
I think that's the tolling of the bell.
Well, there's the blank. So
There is the blank, and there is things through that. But
yeah,
Wast, no S for Wast, is there?
no,
I
there's
think
no
we
S for
talked about that
lost.
just before.
Yeah,
And he's closed the V lane up the top as well.
yeah.
So
No, I mean, he's now created an A for Patrick's gonna see a jar, I think, too. Like, it,
it certainly looks like a setup for the extra A, but Patrick's
yeah,
got the last A, so
yeah,
he knows that Ryan, unless he thinks that Ryan set it up for the blank, but surely not,
yeah.
because he needs the bingo.
I think both players have just missed Acred, and I think
I
that
think so.
yeah. And it's not common. Like, it's one of those like Scrabble words. You don't think of an acre and be like, it's not like it's not like obvious what an acre would be as
No,
an
it's not
adjective.
definitely not an obvious front hook.
Yeah,
So
it's one of those things you have to study. So I get it, but yeah, Ryan does have
so
undines, but he may try wasps and undines. I wouldn't be that surprised. It does look grim, especially if you don't know Acred.
well, I would in Patrick's shoes, I'd definitely be challenging that.
Yeah.
Even if I thought Boss was good, I would probably challenge it for.
Yeah.
Although he's got quite the lead, so who
Although it
knows?
may be an out bingo, and if Patrick challenges it, he may be risking the game. So he
Good
might
point.
not get challenged.
Good point. Very good point. Um,
Depending on how much.
so I wonder if Patrick's thinking about, certainly don't want to open it up any further. Maybe something down from the triple with jars.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably considering both things in ending in ES and things with a
And
jar.
starting with a jar.
Yeah, I think that those are his two major considerations here.
Yeah.
He's also just it clearly he's just finishing his tracking. I think he just wants to make sure that he's finished his tracking before he makes his play. I think that and that makes sense. You do want to always have your tracking done in these sorts of situations to make sure you're not missing anything. But you can
Absolutely,
see
and
him.
they've got plenty of time. This is
Yeah.
I I struggle with time and particularly with tracking as well, but
Mhm.
because it can be crucial, right?
Yeah. And he wants to see how many A's are at the. Well, he should, if he sees A crit, he should be looking at how many A's are left, certainly, because that is something. But I think he just doesn't see.
I don't think he's seen it. He wouldn't have, surely he wouldn't have played cab.
Yeah.
But then again, there's sometimes that you don't see things, and then 2 seconds after you've done it, there it is. And you go, oh, please kill me now.
That's a little. We
Well,
don't recommend here at this
I,
channel.
I, I can be a little dramatic at times, I admit. Um, but yeah, more like, oh, why did I miss that in polite
Mhm.
language?
Yeah. It may be worth thinking. Patrick may be far enough ahead that he's actually thinking about maybe trying to bingo again himself with something like OE or
Well,
something like that.
he has a lovely rack.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
that's. But then again, the risk of the blank still being out there as well. I'm not sure
Well,
that I would take
if
that one.
if Patrick played ice, for example, to the C and Acred, and then Ryan bingo, there'd be one tile in the bag, and Patrick would
And
still be up
Patrick
by
would still,
20
and
or something like that. He should
and he
be
would still
fine.
have a lovely
Bingo leave, yeah.
bingo prone bingo prone rack as well.
So, and he still has like the ajar thing. He still has the jars on the right. He's going to be up by
Yeah,
50, and Ryan's going to have one tile. So Patrick is actually going to be fine.
yeah.
Um, I think. Like worst case, I guess he's hit by like Minuend and Ryan draws the blank. I think even then he's still fine. So I think that if Patrick really wants to, he can try to bingo here. I just don't recommend trying to that hard because you never know.
No, and does anything go across? Is there enough space under gid to play something across there? It looks like there
There is.
is. Yeah, there is. So, I, it's another opening,
Yeah. But
which
if
at
I were
least
Patrick, yeah,
doesn't involve a phony wasps.
yeah. That being said, it's just so safe to just play EAN and leave one tile in the bag, be up by 100.
Yeah,
I mean, if he,
E-
yeah,
EAN. Mm,
or just EA or something. Really anything. AE,
yeah,
just almost anything really. There is sometimes too when you
it's
miss Acred and then suddenly you're doing this whole tracking process and you're looking, it's
and
like, is there
you.
some way I can lose this game? And I'm like, oh, there
Oh,
is a way
there
I
it
can lose this
is.
game. Yeah.
But I don't. I don't think Ryan's got anything with the blankers and A, so
No. Comes
nice.
nice, yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yep. Does this get out of range? Yeah, this gets it out of range of if was a word. Because I don't think that
Yeah.
Patrick is Patrick was is one of those words you're never 100% sure it's bad. Like I thought it was bad, but I looked it up.
And well, I'm pretty sure I remembered that it was bad, but
Yeah,
it's one of those things. And sometimes I lose my nerve in things like that as well.
for sure.
So does Ryan have anything playable?
No.
Nothing.
Undines would if was a word, Undines would still lose by about 20. So
Yeah, and he's going for it as
he is
well.
going for it. Yeah.
So I reckon we're going to see a challenge here for sure.
Yeah, because it's just yeah. He still can challenge and win the game. So
Yeah,
the 5 points isn't enough of a deterrent.
certainly not in this situation. So
Yeah.
where is he? Are we holding?
I think he's making sure that he can afford to challenge it. I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing he like you want to in these sorts of cases you always want to make sure that that 5 points is not the 5 points that's going to cost you the
That's
game.
going to cost you the whole game. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think so. I think usually what he's doing is like he's holding, and then he's like saying, "Okay, am I really up? Am I really going to win this game by?"
Yeah, I
Um,
think they're. I think they're on hold. They've
yeah,
got to be on
because
hold.
it's 90. So he's up. Patrick will win by 17. So if
Oh yeah, there's the
there's a challenge, yeah,
challenges going. So Dunnies is coming off, and well,
yes,
this is going to be a big margin.
yeah, and there it comes off. I don't think that Ryan actually thought that Was was good either, for what it's worth.
No,
I think that he was just,
I don't think he did either.
yeah,
Uh, sometimes sometimes I think we hold on by a hope and a prayer, and we go, surely they've changed the dictionary for me just this once.
yeah. No one's ever 100% confident with words like that, or very few people are. I'm certainly not. It's
No,
always
I'm
yes.
there's sometimes that I'm not confident of even
Yeah.
3 and 4 letter words, and I have been known to chicken out, particularly when you're tired at the end of the day. And
Oh yeah,
I think that they have just had afternoon tea, haven't they?
yeah,
If it had been me and I'd been having a bad day, I might have even had a glass of wine by then.
yeah,
So, reef going down. Well, this is unassailable now.
yeah,
So, I guess it's just a matter of clawing back what you can at the last minute to try and break that 300 barrier that we all love to hate so much.
yeah. And I'm not sure if there's actually is there a way to actually score 20 here that isn't with Akert?
Something
I guess
something across ends
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 is
will
that 20?
end end
11, 13. Yeah, that's
it's
21. 22.
but it's still you're still going to lose the last 3 when Patrick goes out.
Oh right. Yeah, okay.
So, is there anywhere else that's
Um
unjars? Is unjars good?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think the only extension is actually Eve jars, which is kind of an obscure bird or something like that. Well, there's
Yeah,
ends.
he's going for ends. Yeah.
6, 8, 13. Yeah. It's 21 actually.
Well, it's probably the best that's available there.
Well, it does give Patrick MA and men's, so that it actually does improve Patrick's score as well. So
Yeah. Quite a bit actually, because his previous best looks like it would have
yeah, only been 14.
been, yeah, 14 with Cam,
Yeah.
or
Actually, it's 15 with Baker.
15 with Aked. Isn't that ironic?
But yeah.
Oh no, no, so Ryan's taking ends back.
Okay.
Ends was not finalised after all. Well, I'm fairly sure that there is not an 8-letter word ending in a B with this rec.
That's suspect you're right. There's only 38 of them.
38. Okay, I'm definitely adding that to my card box next week.
Okay.
Or maybe he's finally spotted the A hook for Aked. Not that it does an awful lot of good, but
Well, you can
it's
play
something.
Induna or something. I mean, it is useful still. Like, Induna is a lot more than anything else that exists, even though it's not a bingo.
But it's
Can make a phonetic mistake and make you via a word so you can play innuendo. Something like
innuendo.
that.
Would be
Um,
great.
but yeah, no, there's nothing. Maybe he's looking for something to the L, undenial or something. I, I don't know. Just gasping at straws of
Well,
various
yeah.
sorts.
I certainly have a tendency to that and towards Hail Marys when I'm behind.
Yeah.
Not that anything's really going to save them. I mean, 128 points.
Something that sometimes the Hail Mary comes through, or at least gets you
Occasionally.
further down the field.
Yeah. I wonder if we could even make up a word that would score enough points at this point. So we would need 120 points with a phony word for a draw. Could
I
we
think
make an 8 ending in the N across the top, hooking something that isn't actually a word with via?
if you play through the TROW and K and you parallel all the way through, I think that's enough. So you'd
Well,
have
that
to
would
make
be,
it.
at least it would be like the coolest Hail Mary ever.
Yeah, it would make about 5 words or so that are not words, but
Yeah,
you
but
know,
it would still be very cool to see. You'd be like, oh my god.
this is the
And
quality
it would
commentary that everybody's here for, isn't it, guys?
it would certainly make the record books.
Sometimes online people actually do this to when other people are in time trouble. They're like 5 seconds and then they just play some play that's which makes like 10 parallels and scores 150 points and is not even remotely close to a word. Well, there's Dens.
Which I guess at least stops the MA
Yeah,
rather than
rather than ends, yeah. At least it
rather than
limits.
ends, which
Yeah.
makes sense. But the cam is still going down,
Yep.
and that's it.
That is it. And a sizable win for Patrick.
Very so, and only one bingo that round. I think
Yep, only Logania.
that was it.
It's fairly unusual.
Some very nasty racks in there though, and
Yeah.
tough board too, particularly at the end there.
Yeah, jawing when
So
the game starts jawing and null like that, you kind of know that the board was most likely going to be dead, because jawing really just kills the entire left side.
yeah,
You either have to start something with like an A from drawing, or you have to have the JA in the middle of the word. It's
I think we might
possible.
have a little disagreement on scores here.
Okay,
Looking at a count back, perhaps.
maybe so. Okay, we're about to
Oh,
go on break, I think. So, um, yeah, stay tuned, and we'll have more of Trans-Tasman Cup in just a minute.